Very excited to introduce to you Pellet Estate, a historic name dating back all the way to the Civil War. Wait till you see what we have in store. Eric, good to see you again, sir.
Good to see you, Martin.
I was fascinated when you first told me about this project because you basically resurrected this brand.
Correct, yes.
So how did that happen, and how did you decide to say, you know what, I'm going to do something here?
Well, I always wanted to, build a winery from the ground up. I grew up building things,
okay,
residential construction to all things internet. So creating something from nothing, and I like building things, so why not resurrect and build a winery from the ground up again?
So the Pellet name, though, is
very historic.
I was going to say, this isn't a new name in the valley.
Yeah. It's not your average name.
No.
I mean, Henry Pellet, he was born in Switzerland. He was actually born Henri Pellet, but when he crossed the Mississippi River, he became Henry Pellet because he had to be rough and tumble to get out here in California. And he landed here in the valley in about the 1850s or so, and was second behind Charles Krug, actually being a commercial winemaker here in the valleys.
And so then why did the brand kind of fall by the wayside?
Well, after Henry Pellet's death in 1912, his family just decided to, let the grapes be, and then along came good old Prohibition, and that left fallow lands right there.
Right.
And then
that had that impact on quite a few places.
Yes, it did. And then there were some people that came and bought it from the family in 1955, I believe.
Okay.
And then they replanted the grapes there and reestablished a vineyard there, but they were just selling the grapes. And then the current owners bought that in right around 2000 or so, and they were selling grapes as well. And we're a small town of 5,000 people. So I said, let me build a winery.
And what was your goal when you knew about the vineyards, you knew about the land. What were you after stylistically with regards to, I know that this can come from this land?
Well, I grew up in St. Louis in the Midwest, so heavily influenced by French Bordeaux. And that was basically all my experience up until when I came out here in 1985 or so. But all the wines that I was drinking from the St Helena AVA, like Spotswood and Vineyard 29 and Beringer, they were really, really impressive, I thought. And I quickly learned that on the west side of town there, great grapes come from that kind of property. And so I wanted to try and work with a key winemaker here in the valley to resurrect the brands and make something of that caliber.
And not just a key winemaker, probably the most famous iconic winemaker in the valley. So that is a nice feather to pull out, or an arrow to pull out of your quiver. But the Chardonnay in particular is unoaked.
Yes.
Why?
Yes. Well, this is styled more like a French Chablis, and it's actually it was a dry away decision, I call it, because we contracted with Sunchase to make barrel fermented Chardonnay, and they showed up with almost double the tonnage that we contracted for that was going to break the bank.
Right.
And I didn't have the oak barrels for it anyway. So we looked at each other and just said, we've got these 75-gallon stainless steel Muellers. Let's make a stainless steel unoaked Chardonnay in the style of Chablis versus the barrel fermented version that we were set out to initially make, so we made both.
I love those creative decision-making stuff.
Well, it was do or die, otherwise we wouldn't have got the fruit next year.
So Eric mentioned something about classic winemaking styles, specifically unoaked Chardonnay in a Chablis style, and you've been doing this for quite a bit of time. So what does classic winemaking style mean to you?
You let the fruit speak for itself. We know that vineyard, Sunchase Vineyard, is high-end, very high quality. And we don't have to play games with secondary fermentations, malolactic fermentation. We don't have to worry about the type of oak we're going to use and the fatness we're going to develop. No, we're going straight for the fruit.
So minimalistic, you don't have to do a lot with it.
Correct.
And I hear that a lot where the winemaker will say, what I have to do is just get out of the way.
That's the best part of it, exactly right, too.
But I would imagine with the number of vintages that you have under your belt, is there a challenge when you see something that you know, but then you have to balance that with like, okay, stand back, let it do its thing?
We are very cognizant about the temperature, about the amount of oxidation or not, and also the cleanliness of the vessels that it goes into. All of those are crucial. But once everything gets into play, it's best to just let it happen. We really are just observers.
Right.
More so than doers.
Cheers. Thanks for having us.
My pleasure.
Outstanding. Amazing time today with Eric and Tom. Pellet Estate, absolutely something special with significant history. Do yourselves a favor, grab some of this wine. Thank you so much for all your support. Cheers.